It is 7 o'clock on the East Coast. It is 4 o'clock on the West Coast. It is the 26th of July in the year of our Lord 2020. Season 11, Episode 2. 535 times this face and or this voice has welcomed you to the Clubhouse Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things pop culture, live from Vocal Studios in North Dallas/Addison, Texas. VocalNow.com. Make sure you spell vocal with a K. Download the Vocal Now app so you can be vocal anywhere. Welcome. My name is Rob. I am the executive producer of the Clubhouse Podcast, and it is so great to be here with you today. We're very excited. We got a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. Joining me in the co-host chair for the second week in a row, well, I'm technically because we were remote last week, is the official fact checker of Sooner Gator Productions and a man who has been to and from the AT&T store. You may know him as Igbunu, but his mama named him Don Ford. I'm going to call him Don Ford. Hey, man.
I'm trying to find one of those otter cases for the iPhone 11, but the one that has the screen on it. I hate because I had to get those bodyguards screen that they. I hate the third one already broke within 6 months. Yeah, these.
I have not had a problem with any of those.
But do want to say something? Thursday, July 23rd. Faith, I love you, honey. 3-year anniversary.
Their anniversary was this past week. I was there.
3 years. 3 years. She put up with me that long.
And 175-degree heat in a full suit.
And she still put up with me that long.
Well, it's amazing what happens.
Well, she hasn't got her citizenship yet, so that's.
I was saying, when you write somebody a check, it's amazing what happens. Joining us from an undisclosed location in Rockwall County, Texas, is my co-host and a man who said, "I ain't changing my wardrobe because that's how I roll." He is Alex. What's going on, man?
I actually want to defer and once again say congratulations to Don on being able to convince somebody to deal with you for 3 years.
Thank you.
So there is that. But I will also say I've had a lot of luck with OtterBox's website themselves.
Yeah.
So I've had great luck in getting good products from them directly.
I always liked it. For years, I've always had them, but this new iPhone 11, all of them are screenless, and I hate the bodyguard screen you have to buy extra, and it's junk.
I prefer to mine's separate. Jenn Rohm out on assignment this week, but out in the hallway, making things look and sound so great as he does, is the host of Big 12 Talk and our engineer, Jay Gillespie. Hey, Jay, what's going on, man?
I'm doing well, man. How are you doing?
Man, it's another day in the life, but we are rip-roaring, ready to go. Any plans on when Big 12 Talk will put on there in our next episode?
About, I would say, three and a half weeks.
Oh, so getting ready for what may or may not be the regular season. We're going to talk about it here in just a minute.
I figured there'd be content either way. So
let's get into NASCAR. They actually raced on Thursday night this week, which was a little bit weird. But here are your top 10 finishers. The poet, William Byron, in the 24 Chevrolet comes in 10th. He was behind Kurt Busch in the number 1 Chevrolet. Also, in the number 88 Chevrolet in 8th place. Kind of meta there. He is in the Archer, Alex Bowman. Cole Custer makes a mean dessert. He shows up in 7th place in the number 41 Ford. Eric Almirola in the 6th place in the number 10 Ford. The number 20 Toyota comes in 5th place with Eric Jones in 4th place. Kevin Harvick in the number 4 Ford. So 2 cars that do the meta bit this week. The bronze medal goes to Martin Truex Jr. in the number 19 Toyota. Brad Keselowski. Actually, we have 3 meta places because the number 2 Ford comes in 2nd place. And winning the race on Thursday night, Denny moons over my Hamlin in the number 11 Toyota. So let's go.
That seems kind of meta too.
Do what? Oh, that's 4.
Very.
First place 11. Wow. Shenanigans. Let's go to your Cup standings. We're not doing the projected playoffs. We want to let you know if the playoffs started today.
Now ruining NASCAR results too.
Yeah, right. We're less than 8 weeks away from the playoffs, so let's talk about if they started today. Your odd men out would be Austin Dillon and Jimmy Johnson. However, they are both within 6 points of Eric Jones in the 16th place. Jones is only 2 points behind Tyler Reddick. I really thought that his movies with Vin Diesel were great. Reddick is 10 points behind the Poet. The Poet is 25 points back on Matt Benedetto. And he is 7 points behind Clint Bowyer. Bowyer is 55 points behind the other Archer, Alex Bowman. Bowman is 22 back on Kurt Busch, who is 1 back on Kyle Busch, his brother. Kyle is 14 points back on Eric Almirola. Almirola is 26 points back on Truex. Truex is 7 points back on Logano, who is 21 points back of Chase Elliott, attorney at law. Chase Elliott is 4 points back on Hamlin. Hamlin is 29 back on the Stone, Ryan Blaney. Blaney is 3 back on Keselowski. Keselowski now 97 points back on Harvick, who you can say pretty much is going to run away with this thing, barring any major upsets in the next 7 weeks.
Well, we can't bank on that because we do have NASCAR scoring, and we have talked about that at length.
Yeah, I don't have a scientific calculator. Not racing this week, but we have 3 races in 8 days starting next Sunday. Next Sunday at 3 o'clock Eastern from New Hampshire Motor Speedway and Loudon. Is it Loudon? Is that how they say that? Is that Loudon, New Hampshire?
I believe so.
That is the Foxwoods Resort Casino 301.
Not a big fan of the Foxwoods.
And then the following weekend, you got 2 races in the same weekend, will be the Firekeepers Casino 400 in Michigan. And 24 hours and 30 minutes later, at the same track, we will have the Consumers Energy 400. So I guess maybe that was the earlier one this year that had to get canceled and they were contracted for 2 races. So they just let's do them the same weekend, I guess.
It's a possibility.
And then right after that, very interesting, we have our second Daytona race, which is simply called the NASCAR Cup Series race at Daytona Road Course. So you got that going for you. All right. Let's get into other sports, and we do them in alphabetical order because I don't have OCD. I have CDO. September 12th, what day of the week is that, Alex? I think that's a Saturday.
That's a Saturday. I actually know that one. That is a Saturday.
Saturday, September 12th, on a obscure pay-per-view network, Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. is happening. 8-round exhibition fight.
Which pay-per-view network is this?
I didn't recognize the name. I did not write it down. Don's looking it up right now.
I'm looking right now.
Thank you, Don. Because I'd be very curious about that one.
I can tell you it's also not like DAZN because I would have recognized that.
But the other part is like, has Mike Tyson ever dialed it back for an exhibition, or is he just going to go into it like it's an 8-round fight?
Probably not in about 35 years.
It might be longer.
But yeah, I did not recognize who's carrying this thing. And I don't think they've even announced the venue yet. I mean, if they did, I haven't heard.
The Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson, California.
Oh, it's in California.
It is on the multimedia platform Triller.
Okay, well, I was trying to find it. Triller now.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. Okay. The Olympic Committee has said they are already doubtful about having the Tokyo Games next year.
In July.
They're saying maybe not now. And if they don't do it next summer, they're skipping them all together.
And then Tokyo will have to get rescheduled.
If at all. Because I think your Olympics are announced at least through 32.
That's what I'm saying. Then they'll have to be rescheduled like till 36 or something.
At least.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would definitely be bumped to the front of the list for that one.
Well, no, because these other countries that already are like 4 years from now that are scheduled in 2024, they're already getting venues ready.
No, Alex is saying first in line for the next available.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. That'd be 2. Yeah, probably.
So it's...
Well, I'm not saying that they would be offered it. I'm saying that when the next decision comes around.
Right. What is saying?
They would be
next
very
available.
Well
First in line, next available. Was what I was saying to Don.
Exactly.
For those of you that aren't sure, Alex is having some technical issues on his end, so he doesn't necessarily hear everything. So if you hear me say things more than once, it's because he's signaling to me that he's not able to decipher what's coming through in his earphones.
Apologies.
No apologies needed. It's not your fault. Technology, man. We have baseball.
Real fast. Paris in 2024, and then it is LA in 2028, but that's it on the summer. So they might get 2032 if they do.
32 at the earliest.
Yeah.
Thank you, Don.
We have conflicting reports for Major League Baseball whether or not Justin Verlander is out for the remainder of the season or not. He is saying no. Other sources are saying yes. There are rumors of an elbow injury. We don't have anything solid yet because that's only come down in the last hour and a half. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that situation for you. But we are up and running, my friends, with Major League Baseball. I have been watching a lot of baseball this weekend. I have literally watched baseball every day since Thursday. At least one full game, if not two. My Braves have the night game tonight.
Crowd.
We're going to get there. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. Watched opening night. Had a blast watching that game, even though I didn't have a dog in the fight. My Braves have been in a 3-game set with Alex's current team, the Mets. We have the night game this evening on the ESPN. And thank you, Alex, for giving me the ability to watch any of the games I want to. I really like the way...
Allegedly.
Well, helping me out. Yes. I do like the way MLB TV does it, though. Because when you pick the game you want to watch, you can pick either team's video feed, and you have the opportunity to use either team's radio feed as the audio, which I think is cool. Also, if the game has been underway for a minute, because this happened to me yesterday, I got late to the Braves game because I was watching a movie, you get the option of either starting from the beginning, starting live, or you can go live after a 90-second recap of everything you've missed, which I think is pretty neat as well. And the MLB app, I think, tends to be one of the better ones that I've seen.
Yeah, the Catch Me Up feature is new and awesome.
I'm a big fan. Toronto will officially be playing in Buffalo's AAA park because Pittsburgh is garbage. I'm saying it.
Yeah.
You couldn't be neighborly. Your people were like, no, you can't play in PNC Park. Go pound sand.
Really?
Yes, that's what they did to the Toronto Blue Jays. That is your team, sir. My teams would have been happy to oblige. Well, maybe not the Marlins because they're Canadian. But the Braves would have been happy to share a park with them.
And in fact, the Orioles offered to share a park.
So that's what Toronto ends up having to do. They're playing in Buffalo's AAA park.
Hey, at least they get a play.
Well, that's true. Fox, their games of the week, they're going to have CGI fans that Alex has told me apparently are the fans they use in MLB The Show, which, by the way, if you want to pick that up, it's only $30 through next Saturday.
It looks horrible. They're going to stop it.
The CGI fans are wearing the team colors. Apparently, there is a kiss cam involved. And much to Alex's chagrin, the CGI fans do the wave.
But here's where you really have the problem. If there is a ball in play or in the air, the CGI overlaps where the ball is.
Oh dear.
So it goes behind you, go behind my big head.
No. The ball disappears.
Yeah, behind my big head. Yeah.
And if anybody wants to go ahead and pony up the money to put our cardboard cutouts behind the plate, we will be happy to send you pictures to do that.
What teams are doing that?
Almost all of them.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Not all of them. Almost all of them.
Okay.
I like what San Diego was doing, though.
What's that?
They had the pets filling in spots. That was cool.
You could have your dog do it too.
Okay.
I did not like the Philly fanatic emptying a can of silly spray on a guy in a Marlins hat today. It's very unneighborly of you. And we beat you like a drum.
Maybe Impact should start doing that, putting cutouts of people so it looks like they actually have an audience.
Don, don't put ideas in their heads. Please don't.
Wrong show, Don.
Well, it just came to mind. I mean, sometimes you got to write greatness as it comes to you.
I'm going to choose to keep driving past that block.
Okay.
The postseason will expand to 16 teams in Major League Baseball. The first round will be best of 3. Okay. After that, it will be the regular playoff. You might have most of the NL East. You could have most of the NL East in that playoffs.
You saw how the breakdown is, correct?
I have not.
Okay, so it is, you have 4 divisions in each league. You have the first place team of each division.
Mm-hmm.
You have the second place team of each division. Or excuse me, you have 3 divisions in each
That's
league.
what I thought. We only have
the first place, second place, and the next best 2 records.
Oh, okay.
So, yes, you theoretically could have most of the NL East. But you could also only have 2, but you're guaranteed 2.
Well, you could have up to 4, so half of them.
But the likelihood of getting 4 in with a 60-game season where most of the games you're playing are in division is going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he isn't wrong. There is a possibility.
Yes. It's possible, but the likelihood versus a 162-game season are completely different.
Yes.
I will say this, though. And I've been thinking about this a lot this week, and Alex, I've been holding on to this because you and I haven't had a chance to talk about this.
Okay, let's go.
I
know you when you hold on to this, you want my reaction.
Right. And Don's too, but more yours.
Okay.
In a 60-game season, do you have to wash the stats from this season because it's not a 162-game season? Because I feel like in a 60-game season versus 162, your batting averages are going to be inflated. A lot of your stats are going to be inflated because you're only playing a third of the number of games. So you're going to have less at-bats, which means you could have less at-bats that aren't hits, things of that nature. RBIs are, of course, going to be lower because of it. Your OPS,
all the counting stats are going to be
all of your offensive stats are going to be completely off, and your pitching stats are going to be off too.
Absolutely not. This is baseball. They live on stats. What you're going to have
Which
is a
to me
big
is all the more
asterisk.
reason.
Well, no. You're going to have the big asterisk that says 60-game season, the same as you did with all of, say, Babe Ruth's, where it was 150 or 152. And at that same time, remember, when they expanded to 55, they put an asterisk next to Maris's 61 home runs for the longest time. That's why the movie's named that way.
I see a puppy in the background.
Do you?
It's a good puppy. It's one of the girls.
She left.
Okay. And last week we talked about Patrick Mahomes, and this week somebody else will never ever say again, "Hey, is somebody going to get the check?" Because Mookie Betts is now 13 years over $380 million.
Yeah, I don't have an old picture to pull out for Mookie Betts picking up my tab.
Mookie.
What's Mookie Betts?
He's a player for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Since we're talking about baseball.
Okay, I just never heard the Mookie Betts. I don't know if it's some kind of betting thing that Alex does in Vegas. I don't know.
Oh, why don't I have my drop board? Why don't I have my drop board?
Is it that special drop that we discussed?
No, it's not that one. It's one of the standards. 13 years, over $380 million.
Also, that's his
And
contract.
he just joined them.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That would be
He was
nice.
traded in the offseason.
Yep.
Oh, boy. I should start playing baseball.
You know
Good
what?
luck
I
on
would
that.
almost pay money to see that. We know people that have connections with the Rough Riders. I feel like we could make this happen.
All right, the Vocal Media softball team, let's go.
Oh, no. I want Don in an at-bat at a Frisco Rough Riders BP. Jay, can we make this happen?
I think we can talk to Ted and maybe
We
Sean
might see our
Bass,
first
maybe
torn
somebody,
ACL on the
connect.
first.
I want Don taking BP with the Frisco Rough Riders. I'm not going to shoot for the moon. I'm not going to say the Rangers.
Oh.
But I think Don taking BP at a Rough Riders game, we film it with Alex and I on commentary. We'll see if we can get Chuck Morgan involved.
I'd be there for
I want to
sure.
throw.
I'm here for it.
Are you talking BP batting practice?
That's what... No, I'm talking about getting gas, Don. It's the oil company.
Don, I think you might want to just sit out the rest of this segment.
We are still talking about baseball, right?
What?
I have not moved on.
Don is just being so bashful and so coy. Once he steps up, he'll just knock out like 50.
How hilarious. He
homers.
puts one in the pool.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be brilliant.
I should talk to
0%
them.
chance.
I'm speaking this into existence.
I
Don
would
on
bet
the
my
field.
legs.
And watch me like hit a couple homers, and then all of a sudden gonna be like that guy that Dennis Quaid movie about the guy who like is so old, but he has the rookie.
No,
I
it
could
would be Donnie at the bat is what it would be.
I would bet my legs that Don doesn't put one out of the infield.
We need to set up a fund. If Don hits this, like that we get people to donate to charity.
Hey, we can do that for Who Needs
We
Sleep.
can tell who needs sleep. That would be amazing.
They donate for
Lay out targets all over the field.
yeah.
Every like we throw him 20 balls, and for everyone that hits, like people can pledge like we think he's going to hit this many here and this. Oh, that would be. And all of a sudden, Don just launches one to Stonebriar Mall and just fascinates all of us.
Yeah, I get a home run. What, you'd have to donate X amount of dollars for.
Oh my God, we have to make this happen.
Okay, I'm game.
We have to make this happen. I'm talking to Ted this week.
Okay.
I'm gonna need a change of pants for when I pee myself laughing.
One of my favorite sports is coming to the Metroplex. Did you hear this big announcement this week, Jay?
I don't think so.
Have you heard about the Dallas Rattlers?
Vaguely.
This is Dallas's new Major League Lacrosse team.
I'm
Really?
sorry.
That's going to be a thing.
Repurpose the Arena League stuff.
Do what?
They just repurpose the Arena League stuff.
I don't care. I'm getting lacrosse in this town. I'm very excited.
Where are they going to play?
There.
Where are they going to play?
They haven't said. They just announced it. And then there's another. This is the MLL. Used to be called the Mill, Major Indoor Lacrosse. But there's also the NLL, and Fort Worth is going to have a team in that particular organization. So we're going to have 2 professional lacrosse teams in the Metroplex, and I am very excited. I love lacrosse. I have long since been a fan of the Rochester Nighthawks because when I first
watched Archer.
Have I ever watched what?
Archer.
I have not. You know that. You know I've never watched it.
I didn't think so, but your affinity for lacrosse makes me question it.
I started watching lacrosse in the 90s, right before I moved to Texas. My friend James and I used to watch it together. And the very first match we ever watched had the Rochester Nighthawks. And we became a fan of that team because they were the smartest team in the mill because they had a goalie that was almost the same size as the goal. So we called him Buddha Goalie.
Buddha Goalie?
And that's why I love lacrosse because it's the only sport where it's legal to hit your opponent with a stick. And we were watching
do it right.
Well, we were watching it, and like there were 3 guys just beating the crap out of each other in the corner, and one guy got called for tripping. And I'm like, this is the greatest sport of all time. So get ready, Dallas Fort Worth. Lacrosse is coming.
I want a curling team for Dallas.
Don?
You know, all of
okay,
that
I want you
just
think about we talk about the baseball. Just ride that all the way home. Just ride that home. Do not jinx it. You have hit the apex.
Okay.
Anything from here is downhill.
All right.
Okay.
We
talked about Jay being the host of Big 12 Talk. Let's talk some NCAA football. The Pac-12 has said they will do a 10-game schedule that will start on September 19th. So really, there's only 2 teams. I think maybe there's only one of the Power 5 left. Or has the Big 12? The Big 12 hasn't announced yet, right?
They have not.
So Big 12 and SEC are the only 2 left, and they're supposed to announce by the end of this week because it is the last week of the month. Alex.
Oklahoma has announced that their opener is moved to August 29th, 1 week earlier than scheduled.
Because Oklahoma.
And they're playing Missouri State. So
how many conferences have said that they're out and how many are in?
Only 3 of the Power 5 have announced that they're going to have a schedule. All 3 of those conferences have announced an in-conference only schedule.
Wow.
Which
and there's a big debate I saw. Actually, I know you're not a fan of this show, but on Real Sports, how they say the colleges are closed because they're not allowing students in or faculty in. Well, these guys are, quote, student athletes. Well, if they're not going to allow other students in, why should they have to go back? You know what I'm saying?
Well, one of the things that they announced this week, Dean Smith, who is the coach of North Carolina basketball.
Yeah.
He and his wife are each giving $500,000 back to the university to pay. I'm sorry? Roy Williams. I apologize. Not Dean Smith. I apologize. Roy Williams and his wife each giving.
Impressive since I don't think Dean Smith's alive.
Oh, they named the court after him, though, didn't they?
Correct.
Okay. I apologize for that. That's on me. They are each giving $500,000 back to the school to pay for scholarships for athletes that may not be able to make it back. So there is movement there. I understand what you're saying, and it's not that I don't like Real Sports.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Brian Gumbel.
Okay, but the show made some good points. It's like some of them.
Well, I like Armin Katayan a lot. I'm a big Armin Katayan fan.
When they had him come in, they actually had these athletes, these football players, and they're not even caring about like lacrosse. We just want the football.
Right.
And they're saying, you have to sign this form saying if you get sick and all that, die, even though we're forcing you back, and if you don't play, you're not going to play.
They're not forcing anybody.
Oh, yeah, they are.
They're giving them the option. They're giving them the option.
No.
If you can't tell a kid you have to be here. You can say, look, your scholarship is contingent upon you being here. That's different.
And that's a different thing.
You always have a choice.
But the thing is, if they're not going to allow students back, and they're students, keep in mind, they're students.
There are more students now than they used to be.
But there's still.
I think if I could streamline what Don's saying, there is the risk of if somebody wants to opt out for their own health, they could lose what they have.
Yeah, and that's not right, because if they're not going to allow all the other students back to the campus, why should they force these students back to the campus? They're just students.
They're not forcing.
They're not forcing them down.
Oh yeah, they're saying some of them. They're saying we're going to, and that's where these schools have got under pressure, because you're saying, hey, you're going to force this kid to come back, and if not, you're going to rip a scholarship. Well, this COVID thing is pretty. That's pretty.
There's going to be that one case where somebody challenges it, and then everybody else is going to fall in line. Yeah. We've got 3 weeks still, and it's going to happen. I guarantee you it's going to happen. You're going to have kids that are going to be like, look, I'm at high risk because I'm asthmatic or whatever. Yeah. And the university is going to have to counter that, because that's the time we live in, because you don't want to be the university that pulls a kid's scholarship because he's concerned that he might contract a virus that will kill him. Yeah. You just can't do that.
It's as much as it's, we understand where the argument comes from. There is the risk inherent. There is no legal bearing that they can physically force a kid to come back.
I can't. But now they were threatening these scholarships.
It's a huge leap to make.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen personally.
And they even, where the SEC got under fire, because they made him sign this waiver saying, hey, if you die, guess what? You're not going to sue us because you're doing this freely and willy. But if you don't, by the way, if you don't come back, we're going to pull your scholarship.
Them sign the waiver. They're having them sign the waiver so that they are not held liable for a situation.
But they're forcing.
And I don't know that that waiver says that they're going to pull their scholarships.
And then when that hit the news, they pulled it. It's like,
but I don't think the waiver actually said that if you don't show up, you pull the scholarship. I need to see that.
Yeah, that's
because if I'm somebody that is proofreading that waiver or writing that waiver, I understand the crater I'm stepping in by putting that in there. I think it might be implied, and the student may feel that way reading the waiver. Yeah. But I find it hard to believe. Not that I'm saying that you're wrong, but I'm saying I personally find it hard to believe that that's in black and white. It's just
right.
Because let's say you played football
40 years ago, I would totally roll with you. Not in 2020.
So let me say this: if you're a football player with Alabama and you got a scholarship for football, but you're just an athlete, keep in mind you're not a professional. You're just an athlete.
You're a student.
You're a student. I mean, you're a student, and they're not making other students come back, regular students. And the thing is, they're going to say, I'm not going to come back because of the COVID.
Okay.
And then what does the school do?
That's going to be up to the school. Now, the other thing you have to understand is there are public institutions and there are private institutions. Yeah. Somewhere like the University of Alabama, which is a state school, falls under state government regulation in that category. Yep. A school like the University of Miami, which is not, that is a private school. Yeah. There's a little bit less liability to the government there because it's not a government-regulated program.
Because these students could say, I'm not coming back because I'm not going to get sick. I'm not going to get this thing.
I would bet you dollars to donuts. If that happened, there is not a school in this country that's going to go, we're pulling your scholarship, because they don't want that level of PR.
But that's simple. Where the big story starts.
Money talks. Yep. And the money that's going to talk is going to be the kids that are going to go, I'm not going to that school.
Right.
You don't want to be that school that tells a kid, come back or we're yanking your scholarship. Yeah. There's no way, because nobody in 2020 is going to get away with that. In the age of the internet, where there's no such thing as a 24-hour news cycle, it is a 24-nanosecond news cycle. That, we got the Verlander early stuff in the last show. It's not possible in 2020 for someone to truly pull that off without consequence. And these schools know it would be a suicide mission for the school. Yeah. And
it would be a self-inflicted death penalty.
And that's what came back, because some of these students, like the one in Michigan, and showed them saying when they said, we want you to come back, we got football, we want you to practice, you're coming in. And by the way, we're testing you once a week, if that. And we're not even going to release the results to the public on how many kids are sick on these programs. And then also, when they walk in, they say, sign this waiver saying if you die, you're not going to sue the school. Come on.
They can ask them to do that.
But then that's where they got the beef, is when SEC stopped that real fast once it came out.
Okay, first of all, Michigan, not in the SEC. Yeah. Let's be clear on that.
Yeah, I know,
that's a completely different conference.
I know.
Because what you're doing is you're connecting two things that are not connected.
But they had two brothers. One was in the SEC, one was with Michigan.
Right, but that's not the same conference.
I understand that. I'm just saying.
You're telling two different stories that you're interlocking.
Hold on. There were two brothers. One plays Michigan, one plays for a team in SEC.
Right.
And the one brother who plays in SEC came in and said, when he got back to the school, there's this contract that says, hey, if I die because I get COVID, I'm not going to sue the school. And
they can ask you to sign that. They're within their legal rights to ask you to.
But they're saying, hey, we want you to come back. You better come back. And by the way, we show up, sign
That's
this.
a huge leap.
And that's where SEC, that's where the head of the SEC was drilled on it, saying, why are you forcing these kids to sign this thing that says, hey, if I get COVID and I die, I'm not going to sue you, even though you
right,
want
but the
back.
difference there is you're talking to the head of the SEC versus the school that did it.
Yeah.
It is possible that the head of the SEC, and I'm not saying that because that's my conference, it's possible that he didn't know. This could have been a school that tried to, even if it is Florida, I don't know because you haven't said what school it is.
I forgot which one. That's what I'm not going to say.
That they're trying to go in under the wire.
Yeah.
Now, once that head of the SEC is aware of that, then he can take action. But if this is not an action that was governed by his conference, you can't hold him accountable to that action. And the way you're telling the story, you're joining all these things together.
I mean, because there's multiple schools where multiple things are happening with these kids, where a lot of them are being pressured to come back. I
just don't see it happening in the society that we live in because the news cycle is instantaneous.
Yeah,
if it was 1983, absolutely not in 2020. Because these schools are more savvy now. They're more technologically savvy, so they understand the news cycle. They understand that these kids are going to leak whatever they want, whenever they want, because they want to be Instagram famous. That's the society we live in. And it sucks sometimes because some of the stuff may be experimental. Some of the stuff may be, hey, we're talking about this, and then these kids are reporting it as fact, and other people are taking these opinions as fact because somebody else reported them. I just don't see it happening. It's just not good PR for the schools, especially your bigger schools that are in the spotlight all the time.
Yeah.
Good news for Notre Dame. They're
that?
actually going to get to play because they're going to actually, and which I don't understand, but I do. As we all know, their football program is an independent school because of their contract with NBC. They will be playing in the ACC schedule because that's where their basketball and everything else is. I still think that's a mistake. I have since day one when they announced they were aligning with themselves with the ACC because all of their rivals are in the Big Ten. The Big Ten is where they should be. But I appreciate that they're getting to play, mainly because my sister is a big fan of Notre Dame. I have been to that campus twice. It's absolutely gorgeous. If you didn't know it was there, you can drive right through South Bend and never see Notre Dame.
Really?
It's tucked back into a neighborhood. You can't see it.
Wow.
So when you get there, it's gorgeous. And I've been to a game there. I've seen Touchdown Jesus. But they will play in the ACC, which I think there'll be some good matchups there for them. I just think that I'd rather see them play in the Big Ten.
There's also a selfish aspect about that. Pretty sure they'll have better games in the ACC compared to the Big Ten because one of their struggles has been a defensive with not as great of an offense, and the ACC tends to be more up-tempo offense lately, especially with the Clemson takeover.
And 2 of your 3 big schools in Florida also in that conference.
Yep.
So,
which they should beat, both of them.
So we're going to see how this all works out. We're going to have such a logjam in the spring. I can't even think about it right now. We're going to have a whole separate show just for sports in the spring. Like, that's how big of a logjam we're going to have.
I like that idea.
I don't.
I can help with that
because I like the balance of everything we have on this show. Get ready for the Washington football team.
I was going to say that because how long have you been saying that?
I've been calling them Washington Football Club.
Yeah,
for about 5 years.
I know.
And I've said for longer than that name needs to change. Snyder can say whatever he wants. That is a racial slur. I don't care. I will not back down from my belief on that. I don't care what people tell me. Oh, yeah. I just don't.
I agree with you 100%. Now, like the Chiefs and something, that's something different. But Redskins is
the Chiefs. I don't ever see changing anything.
Oh, I know. I mean, some people are talking about that, but that's respectful. Right. But the Redskins is kind of
the Cleveland Indians are examining their name. The Braves have said they're not going to change the team name, but they're going to look at the use of the tomahawk chop. Good luck with that. Yeah. Florida State, as much as I hate them with every fiber of my being, I give them a pass because they have so much support from the Seminole community that they get the pass. When people were giving problems with Chief Osceola and the big spear in the middle of the field, I didn't understand that because that is tradition. It is not, in my opinion, any way, shape, or form a racist statement. So Florida State gets a pass with me.
although they did have an interesting point to the Chief Osceola as well, as going out of their way to seek out a Seminole student who could perform that.
Yep. So it wasn't like,
cool.
that it wasn't somebody who was not Native American portraying therein, kind of like John Wayne once portraying Genghis Khan, which is one of the darkest things I've ever seen in my life. Or, Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Comedy?
Breakfast at Tiffany's, which we won't get into.
Nicki. Oh, but we do have some possible news on what that new team name is going to be for the Washington football team.
Which we probably won't see this season. And I think a lot of it, and I'll put a pin in that. We'll come back to it, Alex. My personal opinion is they're trying to find, the problem is like they'll think of something and it'll leak out to the public, and then some troll will go up and buy the domain on the internet and try to get a copyright to the name that they can resell for 180 billion% profit to the team.
Yeah.
So, and I also believe that they are trying to take their time, which I'm totally okay with. I was okay with the Red Tails giving love to the Tuskegee Airmen, but there has been some issue with that, which I think may or may not be warranted, and that's not for us to discuss on this show. But there have been a number of things. The one that Alex is referring to, and I'll defer to him on this in a minute. No, they will still have the same color scheme, and the helmets will have the number of the player, kind of like Alabama does with theirs. But Alex, go ahead. I'll defer to you on the other part of this.
So the interesting thing that has happened is the IT team that builds and maintains Redskins.com, or had done that before, has already started on a new website for the DC Sentinels. Now, one of the interesting things they have about that is because we're looking at less than 50 days to rebrand everything. They're saying we're just going to use the Washington football team name, keep the color schemes, just remove a word from everything. And that way they can get through this, because it would be impossible to get that rebranding done, especially in the time of COVID, where they can't get workers in to do that. And what they will do is they will retire everything at the end of the season. There have been some talks about actually leaving uniforms and helmets and everything in the middle of the field, symbolically leaving it behind, and then coming back with possibly a different color scheme and a complete rebuild of the product for next year.
So,
which
go ahead.
Makes me laugh hysterically, since DC Sentinels was available, and they do already own the domain name, which is where this came from. But if you go back to one of my favorite underrated football movies, The Replacements, that was the Washington Sentinels based in DC. And all I want is for this to, number one, be true, and number two, for Shane Falco to lead the team onto the field for their first game.
And that was Keanu Reeves' character in The Replacements.
The only Ohio State football player I love.
Johnny Utah.
Okay.
Well, he was Johnny Utah was Keanu Reeves.
I know. Yeah. Keanu gets a pass.
Right. They're going to have to do something. I think the next 3 years are going to be very difficult for them, just because of the transition. Because I feel like there's going to be a lot of people in this deal where old habits are going to die hard. And I wish they would have kept the hog motif, personally.
I could see that.
But Thursday night, I was a guest on friend of the show, Danny Gallagher's online match game show that he does with Free Play Arlington. And I was one of the guest panelists, if you remember the match game back in the day. And they did that as one of the questions was, they're going to be known for their defense slowing people down, so they'll be called the Washington Blanks. And I went with the Washington Filibusters, which I thought would have been great. Oh, Alex is my answer. Alex, you have me now? Oh, we're waiting to see if Alex gets us back here. Oh, you're good. My answer was the Washington Filibusters, which I thought would have been a great name for them. Now I don't have you on. Your audio's gone. Your audio is gone.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
How about now?
Now we're back. We're back now. I got you.
And even if you just want to get cute with it and just call it the Washington Busters.
But I still think they should have kept the hog motif. Training camps will be limited to 80 players.
I 100% agree.
Training camps will be limited to 80 players this year, so they're going to have less of a pool to choose from to get down. The other problem is we have no preseason.
Yep.
There's officially 0 preseason games. And you guys, it is very well documented on this show how anti-preseason I am. However, there is a guy at Yahoo Sports, and it is not the same guy that we all know and love, but his name is Charles Robinson. He does not declare shenanigans.
Or known as Little Nate.
Right. He was on Pat McAfee's show last week, and he brought up a really interesting point. It's for 2020. This is a 2020 specific example of why we should have 2 preseason games. And mainly it's because that way every team gets a home game, and they have the opportunity in a preseason environment to test their COVID-19 protocols. The problem we have now with no preseason games, period, if we'd have had one, only half the teams could have done it. Now that we have none, we're going to go into the regular season basically flying blind and hoping these protocols work. This is a genuine concern of mine. The only thing I could see people doing is the teams hosting some kind of an event. Maybe it's some kind of an exhibition where they can have those protocols in place and test them. But like Miami's not going to have that problem because they're not having fans. Friend of the show who's been a guest on the show, Heather Fogelman, she had tickets. She's a big Seahawks fan. And she had tickets because Seattle was going to Miami this year in October. She got an email this week that she is getting refunded her money and the tickets are being canceled because they're now down to a limited number of fans. I believe that number goes to 0 because Miami is a hotbed right now. Alex.
I actually, just from a team aspect, I wonder because one of the big things that you have is the inter-squad scrimmages. Have there been any reports on whether or not that will still be allowed or if they possibly could use that for their testing aspects?
I like that concept, especially since people aren't traveling for training camp, but I have not heard whether that's going to be a thing or not. I think that's a smart idea. I think it's a great idea, but I don't know. This is just going to be such a weird next month as we work up to the proposed opening day, which has not moved.
It has not.
But I think of the 4 majors, football is going to be the toughest to play in an empty stadium. That's going to be, and plus
worse
the
than
level,
WWE with no fans.
Yeah, and well, you're dealing with a lot smaller venues too.
Yeah.
With them, but you're talking from the level of contact in the sport of football. You're talking language on the field, which is going to be very difficult.
That's your big problem.
That and the NBA are 1 and 1A to me. It's going to be, we're going to have to keep a very close eye on the sport over the next 30 to 60 days just to see how things work out. And we'll be bringing that discussion to you as we get closer. Hard Knocks will be debuting probably next week.
And who's the team?
It's both of your LA teams.
Now,
It's the Raiders. I mean, it's the Rams and the Chargers.
My thing is, I don't know if they're going to be able to finish the season. And the reason being is, okay, you take the NBA, they are literally quarantined in a hotel.
In the bubble.
In the bubble. You got 53 players plus coaches plus and staff and everything else who are going to go home, to their houses, go out. Some of these they're young and dumb. They're going to hit the bars. I'm just saying, if you get an outbreak, and don't say, it can happen.
Absolutely.
Where you get all of a sudden Buffalo, half the team is COVID. What are they going to do for that next game when 26 of the 53 players have COVID?
One of two things. They're going to go Iron Man or they're going to have to forfeit.
Yeah, and then if that happens to one team, and then oh my gosh, they played last week, we're going to have to self-quarantine who they played the week before. I mean, it is.
There's rumors of them taking the XFL model with an extra team of practice round that they can pull from, and having, I want to say, 100 different players on essentially a minimum contract where they would be available to pull if it gets to a drastic level.
And that's what Major League Baseball is doing right now.
Yeah, because you put 2 teams on the field, and there's 22 players right there, and 2 of them have it, and it all spreads because they're all the starters, and then they hit the sidelines. They fly back on it. Oh yeah,
your other big sports announcement this week: Seattle's NHL team has a name.
It is awesome.
It is the Seattle Krakens.
Kraken.
The Kraken. I'm sorry, it's singular. Alex, will you pull up the logos for me, and we'll have you share your screen here in just a moment. I am all in with the Seattle Kraken. Jay, did you see the promo video for this?
I have not.
It is so awesome. Alex is going to bring up the logos here in just a second.
The team?
No, this is an expansion team.
Oh, is it? Okay.
They're going to play in the 21-22 season.
Okay.
Or no, the 2021 season. No, that's this year, 21-22. I love everything about this. They did a promo video where they even referenced, because a lot of people don't know, they had a professional hockey team in the turn of the 19th to the 20th century called the Seattle Metropolitans. And they actually referenced that in the video that they did. That was pretty awesome. Alex, are you ready?
Actually, I want to do something real quick.
Okay.
I want to share the screen, but I want to click on going to SeattleKrakenHockey.com, which is their official first.
Right. Go ahead.
Just a moment while I'm presenting. All right, and just a moment.
Jay, will you lock in on
Let me know when it's...
Yep.
Your screen is up now. You want to go ahead and just click the video to see if the video will play?
Well, I don't know if there is anything.
There's something right in the middle of your screen to click on.
No, there's nothing here.
Where it says dive in. That's what I'm looking at right now.
Dive in. I don't have dive in.
I'm seeing ESPN.com on your screen right now. Are you looking at the wrong screen? Did you share the wrong screen?
No. Oh, hold on a second. Let me do this. Live feeds. Live
radio ain't nothing like it.
All right, let's try.
While Alex is getting that up, just one more sports note that I have. The Premier League for soccer will start September 12th.
Okay.
So be ready for that. I'm seeing the same screen you were showing before, Alex.
How about now?
There you go. All right, Jay, go ahead and lock him in. That is your Seattle Kraken logo.
One of two.
As you can see, there's the primary logo. You see the eye of the Kraken. You see the tentacle running through the middle of the S. They've got that same color scheme as the Mariners and the Seahawks, which is awesome. All right, hit him with that secondary logo.
Well, I'd have to find the secondary logo, but I was going to try in the video.
Yeah, see if this works. Blow that bad boy up. We'll have this without audio, but this is basically just, there's no narration to this. It's just swelling orchestral music. You're looking at the skyline of Seattle. Now you're looking at the sound, the mountains, back to the shipyard. There's water splashing everywhere. This is for people listening on the audio version of this. A lot of just outdoors things of Seattle referencing. There's a Seattle Metropolitans right there. Look at them and all of their glory. This video runs at about 1:15 for those of you that want to cue this up at home. As we're getting ready to announce, I mean, there's actual, I saw a reaction video from a radio station in Seattle as they were watching this, and it was pretty cool. I saw that on Twitter the other day. As you can see, the tentacle going up through the S, the shading, and then you get to see the eye of the Kraken. Hashtag release the Kraken. There's the text logo, which I think is classy. I don't think they show the secondary logo in this one, though. Love that video. The secondary logo, it looks like an anchor, but the base of the anchor turns into the Seattle Space Needle. I am all in. They dropped the mic on everybody this week. What are your thoughts, Don?
I think it should be called the Krakens
because there's only one Kraken. It's a
that's
mythological
Weird.
creature.
Yeah, but most times you look at it like their animal names.
Do Orlando Magic?
But that's not an animal. That's not an animal.
Right, but all those other names have a plural form. Kraken is like deer. It's the same thing.
I'm just saying, because you think of all the other Mariners, Seahawks,
right,
Raiders,
right, but those words have a plural form.
Yeah.
Kraken's plural is Kraken.
I didn't know that. Yes. Okay. See, I learned something new.
There you go. All right, let's get into TV talk. Oh, actually, hold on. Alex may have he's got the sweaters up. Go ahead and lock him in, Jay.
Jerseys.
They're called sweaters in hockey. I like them. You see the secondary logo on the shoulders?
Yeah.
See how it forms the space needle there in the middle?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Big fan. So looking forward to them coming up in a little over a year. Let's get into some TV talk. ABC, Forrest Whitaker and Eva Longoria are working together for developing a series from a novel by Richard Vasquez called Chicano. This is a multi-generational story that takes place from the 1920s until now. So 100 years of the same Mexican-American family that emigrates to Los Angeles. That'll be on ABC. They have not given a release date on that. From Amazon, because this was the weekend of Comic-Con at Home, they announced that ahead of the Season 2 premiere of The Boys on Season 4, they have already renewed it for Season 3. So get ready for more of that show.
I love that show. I absolutely love it.
Walking Dead fans rejoice when Season 12 starts, whenever it does. Michonne will return as a regular. A lot of fans of that particular character. And Fear the Walking Dead and Walking Dead World Beyond are set to debut in October. So you are going to get more Walking Dead content way ahead of Season 11 because Season 11 has not been given a date for its return yet. Season 5 of The Crown, my wife will be very upset, is not now set until 2022.
Oh, Fantastic Four loves that.
So you want to let her know she's going to have to wait for more episodes of that. CBS News real quick. Maria Bello will be leaving NCIS after season 18, if you can believe we're at season 18 of that show. But Maria Bello, who I'm a big fan of, very much enjoy her work. Disney Plus, there's apparently something called ZAG. I don't know what this is, but they've had a series of TV movies based on books called Miraculous. Disney Plus has gotten that away from them, and they will be airing those. And the biggest news for Disney Plus this week, we are getting a Lando Calrissian series on Disney Plus, and Donald Glover will come back to play the character.
Now, let's be animated or regular.
They have not said for sure. I'm sure if Donald Glover's coming back, it's going to be live action.
Okay.
Because you'll just be doing young Lando.
I can see either way with him just based on the schedule.
Right.
But as long as we get more Donald Glover, Lando Calrissian, I'm happy.
I want it to be bookended by Billy D. Williams introing and outroing the stories. Like sitting in front of a fire with a snifter of brandy. Just, I remember a time.
I think How I Met Your Lando.
Let's see. Animation Domination has a return date. It will be September 27th on your local Fox affiliate. And Alex mentioned Archer earlier. Did you see you got 2 of your guest stars for the next season of Archer for season 11 have been announced?
I have not seen that. I tend to avoid those stories because I know I'm going to watch it anyways, but please go ahead.
You have 2 guest voices that have been announced.
Okay.
1, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Interesting.
2, Simon Pegg.
Nice. I think Simon Pegg has done voices for them in prior seasons.
And the season premiere of that will be September 16th at 10 Eastern. They're also working on an Empire spinoff with Cookie, Taraji P. Henson's character.
Really?
Because I think they're fixing to wrap that show up.
Oh, that's done. Empire's done.
Yeah, they're working on a spinoff with her.
Okay.
HBO has renewed Perry Mason for season 2. I'm 3 episodes behind right now, but that show is bat crazy. And it's bat crazy in the best possible way.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to ask that because I've been holding off because I'm a binger.
So. Well, I've been told that this last episode, there's a huge plot point that I'm ready to get caught up on. So I'm looking for that.
It's worth it. That's all I'm going to say. Spoiler free.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready to get caught up.
Yeah.
And they're working on a new documentary coming out that I'm very interested in. It's going to be called The Weight of Gold. This is going to be a documentary about the mental health challenges amongst Olympic athletes. And the ad for this, the poster ad for this has Michael Phelps on it, who has been very vocal about his mental health challenges. He's actually endorsing an online app for therapists now.
Now, what network is that on?
HBO.
Oh yeah, because I think I got that saved. I got that.
Both you guys are talking at the same time. Try again. You were chopping up too.
I really hope they cover Ian Thorpe, the Torpedoes journey. Mm-hmm. Some of the stuff that he had to deal with was fascinating, and just the pressure that he was under both in and out of the pool, so to speak. It was anybody who's read into his stuff that dude is a champion on so many levels.
Don, go ahead.
I was going to say that, and it's interesting on these things about medaling because there's the darling sports in the Summer Olympics when it comes to America. There's the swimming, gymnastics, the track and field. But when you really look at the stuff like archery, power walking, wrestling, that soccer, that gets no coverage whatsoever. And so these athletes, unless they gold, like you take a wrestler like Kurt Angle, unless you hit gold,
Rulon Gardner, Brock Lesnar, things like that.
Unless you hit gold, you get a gold medal. Your options are squat on when it comes to like future financing of your next games if you're still old, young enough, or even the money that endorsements that you get out of it. You think Wheaties is going to look at you if you're a bronze medalist in wrestling?
And we don't have an air date on that yet, but I'm very much looking forward.
No, it's scheduled within about the next week. I already got it.
Is
Yeah, I put it on my DVR.
Oh, I didn't even see it. I didn't see a date on that. Check on that for me. They're also premiering next Sunday at 9 Eastern. They're premiering another documentary called Hiroshima 75 Years Later, which I'm very much looking forward to.
I got that scheduled too. Hold
on. Netflix. If you are a fan of the anime The Legend of Korra, they will be carrying that next month. This is an Avatar: The Last Airbender spinoff.
Okay, it's actually Wednesday.
Oh, it's this Wednesday?
This Wednesday, yeah.
Check that out for sure.
Yeah, that's on HBO.
And they have a series called... Go ahead, Alex. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Netflix, huge bump up from adding Avatar, so they're going to be grabbing a hold of everything in that world.
Yep. They also have a show called The Dragon Prince that apparently was originally scheduled. They were going to do 7 seasons of it. Netflix has officially okayed them to do all 7 seasons, which is 4 more than they currently have. So Netflix is starting to load the gun a little bit. They're starting to maybe start gobbling up some of these anime titles that they've actually had a lot of success with. If you look at Castlevania, they had huge success with that. They're getting ready to do this Masters of the Universe Revelations by the same animators. So keep an eye out for that. Nickelodeon. After the announcement this past week of CBS All Access doing Star Trek Lower Decks, they're going to be doing a CG animation series on Nickelodeon called Star Trek Prodigy. This is going to follow a group of lawless teens who discover a derelict Starfleet ship and use it to search for adventure, meaning, and salvation. They're targeting this for 2021.
That is an amazing concept.
I love how these universes are really getting a lot of life breathed back into them, telling alternate stories. Because these universes are literally so big, they have room for these stories. Don.
Oh, no.
I thought you had something. I'm sorry. I'm going to kind of go out of order and come back to something because I have to save this story for last. But VH1 is developing a docuseries. We all know what RuPaul's Drag Race is. Apparently, they're doing a Vegas show, and VH1 is going to do a docuseries about their Vegas show. So that ought to be very interesting. But I want to go back to Quibi. 2 people, and I fully admit I have not seen this film yet, and I own it. I own the fact that I haven't seen it. I don't own the film. I need to. Samuel L. Jackson and Ryan Reynolds. The Hitman's Bodyguard, which we're getting a sequel to, I'm being told. Have you heard about their new project?
Yes.
This is an animated series where Samuel L. Jackson will be the caregiver for Ryan Reynolds' character. And I have to pronounce this very carefully. So let me warm up a little bit. This, you know what the title of the series is, Alex?
Yes, I do. I can't remember offhand, but I know I've heard it.
The series is called Futha Mucka.
Futha Mucker.
Let's go. Let's go right now.
Hope I don't get
Let's go.
Hope I don't get that name mixed up.
That's why I had to say it I had to enunciate it very carefully. That'll be on the Quibi. I don't know if it's enough to make me get Quibi. They're trying real hard, but I feel like they're playing from behind right now.
I have actually seen a good bit from Quibi. I actually went looking for the app because they advertised being on the App Store or Google Play. Could not find it on Apple TV. Could not find it on my player.
But I think it's made for. But I think it's designed for mobile devices. It's not designed for you to watch it on TV because the shows are so short.
Which one?
Quibi. Quibi.
Okay.
I don't think you're going to find it on Apple TV because it's actually designed to be used only on mobile devices.
But they advertise that it is available in the App Store, and I haven't been able to find it even on my phone.
Really? That's weird. But that was the original business plan for Quibi. It was that you only watched it on your mobile because you could take it on the go. TV on DVD and Blu-ray this week. HBO's Jason Bateman series, The Outsider Season 1 is available on Tuesday. The 17th season of NCIS will be available. I did not realize apparently Hawaii Five-0 is done because they are advertising Hawaii Five-0, the final season, available on DVD and Blu-ray this week. And the Blu-ray release of the complete series of the 70s Wonder Woman for Jenn Rohm will be available this week. So
good.
That is a Blu-ray release. We know it's already out there, but this is getting a re-release on Blu-ray. In the music world, congratulations to... I'm sorry, Alex, you're chopping up on me. What's going on?
Before we move on, have you heard the Top Gun news?
That's movies, and we will get to it in movie talk.
I thought we were just in movie talk.
We were in TV talk. TV talk always comes first.
That's on me.
We have an order. Congratulations to the Demi Lovato. She is now engaged to actor Max Erich. E-R-I-C-H is how you spell his last name.
Mazel tov.
So
Congratulations.
mazel tov to those kids. Also mazel tov to the Nicki Minaj, who has announced she is expecting her first child.
Congratulations.
So good for her.
Yeah.
Speaking of children, Sierra and Russell Wilson have welcomed their second child into the world. His name is Win, W-I-N. So I guess we know all that he will be doing. And that's also her. It's their second, but her third.
Okay.
Kylie Minogue has announced her 15th studio album, if you can believe that, coming out in the fall, called Disco. Kylie Minogue, how you doing? And in a crazy story this week, Taylor Swift heads to Twitter on Thursday morning and says, "Hey guys, how's it going? I'm dropping an album tonight." Brand new album is called Folklore that she just dropped out of nowhere, and it is getting very, very good reviews across the board. So congratulations to the Taylor Swift. Music new releases this week coming on Friday. 3 of the 4 of these are comebacks. We have a new album called Such Pretty Forks in the Road from the Alanis Morissette.
Oh, she's back. Okay.
Releasing a new album this week. Brandy also back with B7. I'm assuming that means it's her 7th album. Creeper with Sex, Death, and the Infinite Void. It's an uplifting album. And the return of the Psychedelic Furs. Devin Pike will be very happy with this, called Made of Rain. So there is that. Now let's get into movie talk, gentlemen, if you'd like to. If you've bought your tickets for Tenet, not so fast, my friend. Not in America. Tenet is now delayed indefinitely, as is Mulan, but apparently Tenet is going to be going international first. And there are a lot of eyes on this because there are a lot of other films that may follow this model.
Real fast. Mm-hmm. B7 is actually her 7th studio album.
There you
for
go.
Brandy.
Nailed it.
Clarification. Yep.
I'm going to be interested to see how this works. I know that Nolan really wants Tenet to be released in theaters because he filmed it in IMAX 70mm, and I get it. I just don't know how long he can wait. Because there are some analysts that are saying we may not see the inside of a movie theater till summer of 2022 at this point. So, I mean, how long do you hold on to this until you go, you know what? This is now falling behind. And from the Obvious Institute, your Avatar sequels have been pushed again, so no more Thunder Smurfs for you guys for a while.
But that's what I'm saying. How long have they been teasing Thunder Smurfs and everything else?
It's Cameron.
But even on Tenet, any movie can be held. I mean, it's not the first time it's ever happened.
I'm not saying, but I'm saying, how long do you hold this movie before you realize it now may not have the impact that it would have had otherwise? And
well, let's be honest. Let's say it all depends. Let's be honest. When they get either a treatment or immunity or vaccine to the COVID. Because let's say they get a vaccine that works, and let's say by the end of this year or beginning of next year, which there's talk about, you have 300 million doses, and the COVID's basically done for. I think the movie theaters will be opening like March, April.
But you're existing in conjecture. Yeah. I am at the point where just tell me when it's ready. I don't want to wake up every day like this could happen. This could be a thing. Just let me know when it's a thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so burnt out on prediction and conjecture and people not realizing that you can make a survey say anything you really want it to say. Yeah. And it's just, there's so much misinformation out there right now. Tell me when it's real.
Yeah.
Not when davesblog.com says it's real. Tell me when it's real. Because I'm burnt out. I am burnt out on all of it.
Yeah.
I am working on this next, not this week, but next week, I will hit 6 months unemployed with no end in sight. And it's wearing me out.
And with all due respect, who's hiring?
Believe me, you're not disrespecting me because I'm the one dealing with it.
Exactly.
I wish I could take a job that would pay me pennies on the dollar of what I was making before. I wish I could. Because a lot of people understand it's not that easy. I know where my basement lies, and I apologize that we're getting off on a rant here, but when you don't pay a true living wage to somebody that's used to making a decent living wage, like I wasn't doing phenomenally. I've been told by multiple people that I wasn't making what's equitable for what I do, but I know where my basement lies. And there's a baseline there that if I take any less than that, I'm losing money. And not just because of the unemployment stimulus. That's a whole different issue. I'm talking from the bills that I have. I know where my basement lies. And you're telling me that the kind of position I was doing before, that you're ranting and raving about the fact that you're paying $20,000 less than that? You're out of your mind. But you're doing it because you have people in the job market that are willing to take that because the background that they come from, they don't understand the value of the market, which drives the market horribly down. So here's a guy like me who wants to work. I don't want to collect unemployment. I want to contribute. I want to be a part of the workforce. I want to be somebody who's helping make people's lives better. But the other problem that I have is I'm getting, I would say of every 30 resumes that I've sent, job applications I've filled out, I'm getting 2 replies from out of every 30. So that's what? 6%?
Yeah.
That doesn't help me.
No.
6% on 100. Yeah. It's actually probably, I'm wrong. It's 20%. No, that's 6%. 2 of every 30.
Yeah.
Public school math. But it wears me out. So that's why I'm saying, just don't even talk to me about this until we have a thing. Like I'm sick of getting my hopes up and having them dashed. And that's my rant.
Yeah. And I'll say this on the other hand, and I understand what you're saying, but one of the trials is going to phase 2, which is a good sign. You know what I'm saying? On one of the,
We'll see.
Yeah.
Again, I'll be happy when they say this is a thing, let's go.
Yeah. Here's the doses. Go get your shot, CVS.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah.
Until that day happens, I just don't care.
Yeah.
And there's just so many people reporting so much false information.
Oh, I know.
Because they're not vetting their sources, or they're not vetting the right sources, and they're not vetting enough sources, which is why at the top of this show we said there are conflicting stories about Verlander, because we're not going to report it as fact if one side's saying one thing and one side's saying another. Another movie that is going to get a very limited release, but it is now going to go to VOD, is Bill and Ted Face the Music. It will get the VOD treatment on September 1, which is a Tuesday. So it'll probably get a drive-in run. I did get my tickets for the drive-in this coming month for Coming to America and Girls Trip. I've got my pass. I'm ready to go. Let's see what else we got here. A Quiet Place 2 is now going to be April 23rd, 2021.
So they did open it. Now they're reopening it.
I don't think it ever made it to theaters.
Oh, it did.
Did it?
Did. Yeah, because they actually did a screening. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, but I don't think it made it all the way to release. I think they did the screening, but it didn't make it to release.
Yeah, it was on that edge. I think I do remember it's like open for like a week at the Angelica, and it was because
we had tickets for the opening weekend, and it never
materialized.
Yeah.
So there may have been limited screenings at certain places that involved early views. It wasn't their natural or their normal release.
But it's right at that time.
Yeah. You're going to get that now April 23rd, which will probably be within a couple of weeks of the new release for Fast 9.
Okay.
And now Top Gun Maverick has been moved again. It was going to be Christmas. It is now going to be my birthday next year, July 2nd, next summer.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got that going. If you have HBO Max, be aware that you are going to lose the Harry Potter films next month. They're all on there now. They won't be next month.
Oh, really?
I'm assuming they're going to move those to Peacock because it's a Universal property. No, it's a Warner Brothers property.
Yeah.
But right. They've got the park at Universal, so there may be some kind of a weird agreement there that Warner Brothers, who owns HBO, may not be able to show the films. So we're going to keep an eye on that for you. Amazon Studios is now in the bidding war for the Michael B. Jordan Without Remorse, which is a Tom Clancy book, I believe. So be ready for that, which means it could get a theatrical release because Amazon Studios has been doing a lot of that in the last few years. Alan Menken has made working on an animated musical.
Tom Clancy.
Okay, good. Called Spellbound. It's going to get a 2022 release from Paramount and Skydance. This is about a young girl who must break a spell that has split her kingdom in two. And Alan Menken, a musical genius, so we're going to see how that goes. Disney. Speaking of musicals, Disney is developing Hidden Figures as a musical.
Really?
Yes, I'll be interested in that. Love that film.
Great film.
I can see that.
Yep.
Well, it's a musical too.
And we go from a musical that I'm very much looking forward to a biopic that makes me question my own existence.
I already know where you're going.
Dave Franco, I enjoy his work. He may have been hit by the karma train one too many times because he is married to the very beautiful and alluring Allison Brie. Don, do you have a picture of Dave Franco in your mind? Go ahead and pull it up. Brother of James Franco. Played Greg Sestero in the Disaster Artist.
So also not his first biopic?
Correct.
Sort of.
All right, look at him. There's a couple. Yeah.
All right, so you know who Dave Franco is.
Yeah.
Dave Franco is going to be doing a new biopic.
Okay.
That is being called To the Extreme.
Is it about ECW?
No, but if I tell you to stop, collaborate, and listen, Ice is back with his brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of him tightly. He's not with me yet. Will it ever stop?
Tell me when.
He doesn't know.
When to share.
Because to the extreme, he rocks a mic like a vandal. Light up a stage and like a chump, like a candle.
Watch him jump like a candle.
This is the Vanilla Ice biopic, dog.
Oh, that's right.
Coming in.
I need my drop board because I don't need this in my life. You know it is well established. Oh, Robbie Van Winkle, why do you keep... Why does your Venn diagram keep overlapping mine? Don, again, you may be social distance, but you're not far enough away, and I have things on this desk I can throw.
I know. I got an empty bottle.
But this is happening.
Side by side.
This is happening, people. Nothing on DVD or Blu-ray this week of any consequence that I could find. We have a couple of quick tech talk stories. So, because people are jerks, Disney has had to put a new rule in place. I don't know, Alex, I don't know if you've heard about this.
This is news to me.
So, Disney now has a guideline in place. I hate people. Don.
What?
I can hear that.
I turned it off. Didn't mean to. It just popped up. I have the thing on off.
Because people are jerks.
Okay.
When you're at Disney World now, you are now no longer allowed to walk and eat at the same time.
Okay.
Because what people were doing is they weren't wearing their mask.
When they're eating.
And they were carrying food. Or they weren't necessarily eating. They were just carrying food around. Like, look, I'm eating. I can't eat when I have my mask on.
I can't have my mask on while I eat.
Right. Yeah. So now Disney's like, okay, no more walking and eating. If you're eating, you're in the restaurant and you're seated.
Really?
Because people are jerks.
And they've even closed like the turkey leg stand.
Really?
That's treason. I'm very angry about this.
So them selling like lemonade right outside the rides and
sorry.
stuff?
No
Done.
soup for you.
Okay.
Take it to the restaurant, big homie. Frozen bananas? Nah, nope, not so much.
You have to eat it over there.
Yep, got to go sit in a little patio.
Be
over here.
socially distanced and all that stuff.
If you are the person that caused this, I would like to schedule a meeting between you and a steel chair. Upside your head. In news that I'm very excited about, let's bring it back a little bit.
Let's go positive.
We have mentioned recently Who Needs Sleep 2020 will take place December 6th and 7th. Our official venue is Music City Mall in Lewisville, Texas. We are very excited to have them as our official venue partner and our official community partner. As we know, and this is kind of local, so I apologize for you, those of you not in the DFW area here for a minute. The State Fair of Texas was canceled this year.
Yep.
Which broke my soul because I don't get to have a barbecue bologna sandwich. Fletcher's Corny Dogs is doing pop-ups all over the Metroplex, which I'm very excited. And I will probably be headed out to Alex's section of town. I believe, is that the 8th? Is that August 8th?
I would have
it's either August 1st or August 8th, one of the two, that it's in Rockwall. But our partners over at Music City Mall are doing something very, very cool. They are doing, for the entire month of September, they're basically doing a bit where if you are a vendor that would have had some revenue caused from things like the State Fair of Texas or was it Grape Days or whatever they do out in Grapevine, stuff like that, or the festival at the Switchyard, which isn't going to take place this year in Carrollton. They are doing a deal for the entire month of September where they're going to do one big vendor fair in the mall. And it is a deal that if you are someone who does these kinds of things, I'm not sure what you were signaling to me, Alex.
It's the 8th.
Yeah.
It's August 8th. If you are someone who is a vendor and does these type of things, the price on that is incredibly affordable. And it includes everything. So it's not like you get there, then you have to pay for your power and you have to pay for this and you have to pay for that. It's an all-inclusive price. And I would love it if you are one of those people to get a hold of Music City Mall in Lewisville and inquire about that, because this is going to be a really big fair. It's going to be awesome. Who Needs Sleep is going to be involved. They are our year-round partner now. They're going to be hosting a lot of events that we're going to be helping them with. We're very, very excited about this. So look up. It's Music City Mall Lewisville.org. Might be .com. Hell, I don't remember. Hold on. If only had a little magic box that would tell me this. Oh, there's another one in Odessa. That's good to know. MCMLewisville.com is the official website.
Pop it up.
It's going to be awesome. We've got some awesome things coming up with them. There's going to be some Halloween activities. And we'll be doing the big show December 6th and 7th out there. Vocal, again, has been amazing, and they're going to be our technology partners. I know Jay's going to be there for some of it. I'm sure Jimmy will be stopping by. Ted will be stopping by. And we got some awesome stuff planned for you guys. So mark December 6th and 7th on your calendars, but also look up what they got going on in September, October, and November, and December. There's a lot of amazing stuff. Music City Mall in Lewisville. It's a pretty cool place, man, and they're bringing the mall back, baby. So I couldn't be any happier about that. And then we have an announcement on Friday, because it was Comic-Con at Home weekend, that I stumbled on. I tend to leave my social media up on a screen so I can look at it every once and again during the day. And I saw something on my Twitter feed. And it's a feed that hasn't been really active in a long time. Alex, do you want to see if you can pull that up? Because you did such a great job before. I don't want to ruin this. So, Alex, if you would pull it up, full screen it, and then pause it.
Well, to confirm, you want me to pull up the IGN, the teaser, or just the video?
No, just the little over 1 minute video that a specific program where I found it and sent it to you, that feed. When I texted you that screenshot.
Oh, I have the YouTube up, so I'm ready to go when you are.
Okay, so Jay, if you would go ahead and lock Alex in, and Alex, if you would share your screen. Don, I want you to watch this. Because this is going to change your religion, brother.
All right, I'm
This is going to change your life. Waiting for Alex to share a screen. All right, Alex is getting ready to share his screen. Jay, can you lock him in? Jay has locked it in. Hit it. So what you're seeing right now, Don, I don't know if you can see it, we're like it's in a warehouse type setting.
Okay.
A lot of things going on. We have zombie weapons.
Okay.
We have a little Post-it note there. There's an NES controller that says Wonder Twins Tights on the box. A lot of things going on right now. Little references here and there. And all of a sudden, here's this puddle, and it shows a screen. And the screen is playing Pong, and you have 9.9 million to 9.3 million is your score.
Okay.
And then there's an incoming transmission that interrupts the game. Jay, are you watching this? Boom, baby! G4 is coming back in 2021.
Okay.
This is huge news. G4, for those of you that don't know, allow me to enlighten you.
Enlighten me.
G4 became the Paramount Network.
Okay.
Which then was like GQ TV for a minute. G4 was a network that was dedicated to basically all things geek. Things like Attack of the Show, X-Play. This was a network that would break video game news before anybody had it.
This was the station that I would get home either from college classes or high school classes, turn on and leave it.
The main thing for me with G4, and it's a huge gap that's been in the industry for many, many years now, their San Diego Comic-Con coverage was unparalleled. They would do 6 to 8 hours live on Saturday alone.
Okay. I would argue
Comic-Con.
that their major con coverage across the board was above everyone else.
Not going to debate that. So thorough that there happened to be somebody that is connected to this show that was part of their San Diego coverage one year. Because they did a bit with Sarah Jean Underwood where she was in Artist Alley and she walked up on Brent who was doing a sketch of her. That happened. And I was so excited for Brent. I think that was San Diego. I could not be more excited about this from that aspect alone because other networks have tried to do Comic-Con coverage and it's been horrific. Like IMDb did theirs, but they were across the street. From the convention center. Sci-Fi tried to do their version, but it was only a half an hour and it was the night after the convention closed, sometimes 2 nights after the convention closed. And you can't cover 3 days in 30 minutes.
Oh, no.
We can't cover 1 day in 30 minutes on this show when we're at a film festival.
And their E3 coverage was almost 24-hour cycle for 2 weeks and covered every
CES, E3, San Diego, all the big shows. Their coverage of geek culture and video game culture is unparalleled, and it has been unparalleled since. I don't even know, even currently, any internet shows that would come close. I mean, this was the network that made Olivia Munn a household name. Comcast is bringing it back. When I heard Comcast's name on it, I was a little concerned that it might be a Comcast exclusive, and if that's the case, I'm going to be really angry. But
I want to say they're the ones that also brought Chris Hardwick back.
They brought him back into the limelight for sure after Singled Out for sure.
Yeah, after the MTV run he had and then disappeared for a while. Yeah.
You know his dad is a Pro Bowling Hall of Famer?
Oh, really?
Yep.
I
I could not be more excited about this. Jay, do you have any recollection of G4? Or was this before your time?
I think probably a little bit beforehand. I mean...
And what was really cool about G4 is it wasn't just about normal video games. Like they would cover sports video games. They would cover every type, everything. If it's computer related or geek related or geek adjacent, they were covering it. I need more information about this. And
one of the really cool things they would do with video game coverage was they would actually be going into the studios and getting like firsthand glimpses on stuff that was being built. They would go over to Korea just for their StarCraft tournaments when that was starting to be a thing. When Halo was first coming on, they were going up to Redmond, Washington, and they would have just episodes talking with the composer working on the music. They would cover every detail. And I'm happy for Adam Sessler. I hope he's back with it.
Big fan of Adam Sessler. To me, that guy really gave geek culture some legitimacy, because he was a guy that knew what he was talking about, and he wasn't like half the characters on The Simpsons. Like he was a guy that you looked at, you could say this guy's an expert, and not a guy that a lot of people would rip his shirt off on the playground.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about G4 coming back. I'll be interested to see how they do it. I hope it's at just a normal channel, but I would be okay if it was its own 24-hour app where they were just their own thing. That would be pretty dope. Just bring me back Attack of the Show and X-Play and do it right. That's
I got an
all
interesting question for you.
Go ahead.
If it came back as a 24-hour, say it's its own app that was like a station, would you pay for it?
Depending on the price point.
Well, let's say it's a normal, let's call it another network. Call it the $10 a month.
I would pay $10 a month for G4.
I could see myself going up to 20.
Definitely.
But that's how much I
would pay. 20 might be a little rich for my blood, but 10 I would do. Just as long as the programming is still solid.
That is the big.
If you water this thing down, I'm gonna be mad on a wet hand.
If it opens up and the first two people we see are Morgan Webb and Adam Sessler, take my money.
That would be a great day.
Take my money.
That would be a great day. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we get out of here?
No, I'm good.
Nope. I think we got a lot of covered. I did pull up a couple of things. If you wanted to give a quick thing for Music City Mall, I do have that available, as well as the Fletcher's calendar, if you wanted us to show that at all.
Let's save that for another show.
Okay.
Just because that's kind of local.
I will say this about Fletcher's. I saw a news thing on it where they had it at the ballpark on opening day. If I would have known that, I would have gone.
That's right by where you are.
Yeah, I know. And that's like, I was looking on the calendar a month ago. I guess they just popped that up, which is like, dang it. But because the Fantastic Faye Ford, who loves corny dogs, has never had a Fletcher's yet.
Nor have I.
Look at their... Wait, hold on.
I know.
No. It's bad enough that Faith hasn't. Alex, did you just say you've never had a Fletcher's corny dog?
I have never.
You're evil.
I'm gonna need a ruling on this, Jay. Jay, is that a punishable offense?
That's un-American.
I can definitely mute him and take him off.
You realize it's only an out here thing, right?
What?
It's only out here.
But
I understand that, but you've lived here longer than a year.
But the thing is
I've
like...
never had the opportunity because I've never been to the fair.
No, here's the thing, though. The Fletchers, like I saw in the thing, the corny dogs and the funnel cakes are like $6 a shot.
That's what you pay for them at the state fair.
I know, but $6 for a corny dog is still a lot of money.
Don, it's a Fletcher's corny dog. Fletcher's corny dogs are a whole different level.
Now, make my point. I'm willing to pay for the Fantastic Faye Ford to get a Fletcher's.
As you should.
But I'm just letting the people out there know, you think it's going to show up and it's going to be like a $2 wiener schnitzel? No, it's $6. But the lines...
reiterate, Don, now ask me if I care.
The lines, I saw that, are long.
Oh, absolutely. Because it's Fletcher's. People don't understand that a Fletcher's $6 corny dog, first, it's not your standard corny dog. I mean, this is a very big corny dog, number one. Number two, it's the best corny dog you'll ever have in your life. That's why Fletcher's, the only thing they normally do is the state fair.
Yeah.
That guy makes so much money off the state fair that he clears after his supplies and paying the organizations that help it out. That's all he does all year. The Fletcher's corny dogs you get in the store, that's not him. He just puts his name on them. Let's be clear on that.
I'm going to say, and I met the guy at the Four Seasons at a golf tournament.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And Alex, it's happening. I don't care if I have to get up at 5 a.m. and we get in that line before it gets too long. It is happening.
But I got to get that for the... Let me know, because that one I want to join with the Fantastic...
August 8th.
Yeah.
That's when it's going to be out in Rockwall. But they're going to be all over the Metroplex.
I know, but they're really... I mean, it's mostly like the Denton games. There's one like at the Gas Monkey.
I think they're doing one at Garland.
Yeah, in Garland. But, I mean, that's still when you're in Grand Prairie.
Right.
If I would have known they had the ballpark, I would have done that. But...
They might do one again for NFL opening weekend. You don't
never know. Yeah. Okay. But, yeah.
Make sure you follow us on social media, our website, www.theclubhousepodcast.com. Find out everything you need to know and some stuff you don't. Twitter, Clubhouse Show, everything else, The Clubhouse Podcast, all 3 words in that order, or you will wind up somewhere else. You can find me on social media if you would like. Everything is Yes That Rob Irvin. That is spelled Ervin. The lady of the house is Jenn Rohm. She's out on assignment tonight. You can find her on Instagram at Jenn Rohm Home. That is spelled Rohm.
I am Vexploit on all social media. Remember, if you'd like to help out the show, go to prowrestlingtees.com/thecheappopcast. And since I caught so much heck for it, we're going to go ahead and show you what events Fletcher's has in case you'd like to check it out based on their selling point. And if you'd like to catch Rob or myself, August 8th in Rockwall.
So it looks like August 1st, Gas Monkey, August 7th in the Lakewood area, 8th in Rockwall, the 11th at Our Redeemer Lutheran, that's closer to downtown. Waxahachie might not be that far for you, Don.
Well,
on the 15th, Grapevine on the 17th, which is actually closer to me, Plano on the 29th.
Wow.
So go get you a Fletcher's Corny Dog, my friend. Oh, so good.
I got to do that. But here's my problem. If I get her to that first one, she'll what are you going to do?
Buy 2.
Well, no, she'll always want them at that point.
Buy 2 when you buy her 1.
Oh,
actually, buy 4 so you get 2 and she gets 2 because then she's going to try to eat yours if you don't.
I know, but that's the thing. Once she takes the Fletchers, that's all she's going to want in the future.
Well, then you better find a recipe.
Well, I don't know. All right, but back to the stuff. This is important.
Back to you.
On Twitter, I'm at Igbunu, IGBUNUUU. And Faith, 3 years. I love you with all my heart, honey. It's 3 years is fun. Bye. I love you, hon. And on Twitter, you can email me, Don, at theclubhousepodcast.com.
Email Don for when the wheels get back on the earth. If you'd like us to come do a live show, we love doing live shows and hanging out with the Empire. You can email me questions, comments, concerns. Tell me to go pound sand. I am Rob at theclubhousepodcast.com. Remember to download the Vocal Now app, VOKAL. Bookmark vocalnow.com on your favorite browser because there's so much great material that you can check out right here at Vocal, and there's something for everybody. Our normal show every Sunday night, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, is your one-stop shop for all things pop culture. We'll be back next week, and it's going to be August at that point, if you can believe it. So until next time, for Don, for Jenn Rohm, for Alex, for the Empire, I'm Rob. Clubhouse is closed, and we want to say the shout out to Ariane Celeste, who works with Brittany Palmer. They had her baby shower this past weekend, so mazel tov to her.